All right. Oh, boy. We are a little bit over 8 o'clock, but had just a little bit to make sure that we were wrapping up with things and stuff and doohickeys and thingamabobs. Anyway, let's get settled. Let's get comfortable. Let's grab a drink, pull up a book and a chair, and we've got a little bit left of Hemingway tonight. Welcome back. This is our 7th. I swear it was 7. Did I not update the stream title? I thought I had. What do? I swear I can count. I know it's only Tuesday and it's been a week. Ooh. Alright. Now I need to check this out. Look at my previous streams. No, I guess it's 6th. Why am I thinking 7? Oh, because we were 77% of the way through the book, is what it was. I knew there was a 7 somewhere. I knew it. Anyway. So, strangely enough, I think we still don't quite have Twitch ironed out. Call me crazy, but I swear we double dipped on ads. I got the stream up 5 minutes early, fired off an ad on my own to make sure that we'd get that out of the way, get the pre-roll off nice and early, and I think it also ran an auto ad in addition to the scheduled ad. I promise I was on it today, but no. After all, Twitch decided that no. You're not in control here. I'm in control here. As you know what? Twitch is right. All right. So, let's go ahead. And yeah, Twitch wants that extra money. The extra money from the ad revenue of you and I watching ads. that extra playtime is just so important. Oh man. All right. So, sorry about Sunday. I was working on a car for a very long time. I'd driven up to hometown about, I'm going to say 2.5, 3 hour drive. Got on the road at about 7 in the morning. So, nice early morning for a Sunday, which I will be entirely honest here. On most Sundays, I'm not up before noon. Let's be real. So, it was an adventure to get us started. So, got on the road, had my coffee, we were good, we were on the way. Got up to my parents' place. I'm like, all right, let's get this done. So we got the car brought over and ready to get started with working on it. And work indeed happened. We finished at about, I'd say, so we started right around, I'd say, about 10:15. Is when we jacked up the tires, and we were getting ready to get things taken apart. We'd finally dropped the jack for the last time at about 9:30 at night. It was almost a 12-hour job to replace 4 brakes and 4 shocks. A couple tie rods, couple sway arms. I promise you, my hands are more meant for keyboards than they are for power tools. But you know what? It's nice to help out every once in a while. I'll not be doing this again for a good long time. When it comes time for my car to have anything taken care of, I'll pay someone to do it. It's one of those things. I learned how to work on cars a little bit when I was a kid. Enough to change your oil, make sure your fluids are good, change a tire if you get a flat, if you have to, swap out some brake pads. Anything more complicated than that, I'm in way out of my depth. Luckily, we've got a cousin back home that is much more handy than I ever was. So he was a great help. I was more playing second fiddle, and that is fine with me. It wasn't my show at all. But we got it done. Car is safe and roadworthy, and I won't have to worry about it again for a long time. But that was my Sunday, so that's what we were doing instead of reading. And I will say, I missed it. I was on the road back home, watching the time tick away. I'm like, oh, there goes the end of the scheduled stream time, and I'm like, oh man, actually kind of jonesing for a little bit. Because we'd missed a couple weeks prior, but that was because I was stupid and did karaoke the night before until god-awful hours. But usually, I've got some sort of debilitating disaffection that is a cause of a canceled stream, and I don't feel bad about doing it. Last time, I didn't feel bad about doing it, but I wanted to do it. But you can't really set up a webcam and read while you're going down the highway. No matter how much we might try, it just doesn't work. The bandwidth is really shitty in the middle of nowhere. Alright, but that is in the past. We are done with it, putting it behind us now. So, let's see what we have ahead of us. There are, I believe, let's see, we are in chapter 36. And there are, okay, so we're very near to the end of book 4, wherein we'll jump ahead into book 5, and there are only 4 chapters in book 5. So, I don't know whether we'll finish tonight. If I keep yapping, there's no way in hell we'll finish. But I don't know. I don't rightly know. But we'll see. We'll get some progress in tonight. I think we'll probably finish next time. And it may be a short one. If it's a very short one, we'll pull out Devil's Dictionary and get a few letters in, or a letter in or something, to fill the rest of the time. That is the nice thing about having a pocket space filler. Anyway, having something that we can always go back to. So, let's go ahead and try and refresh our memories of what has been happening. The main character, Federico Tenente, has run off from the army. He'd been back on the front long enough to take part in a retreat. The retreat went poorly. With the dissolution, mostly, of the army there on the front, and the usurpation by the younger firebrands there, the enlisted men who thought that Italy does not lose if she fights fairly. No. The officers betrayed them all. And then they started executing officers who, just, a reminder, Tenente is lieutenant, is an officer. So, our main character decided that being shot in a ditch and left to bleed out was not his idea of a happy Sunday. And so, he jumped into a river, floated off, and made his escape. Came across a few helpful civilians back in Milan, I think it was, in the town, and was finally reunited with his lady love. And somehow, it's a very small world, it is Italy. The entire world is a microcosm of just the orbits of these two characters, really. But we've met a few interesting characters altogether. There was the old dapper gentleman who was actually kind of fantastic. I'm a fan. We've had, I think we'd mentioned it last time, the side characters in this book some of them are lovely. Much better than either of the main characters, really. So, whenever we're introduced to a new character, I am a little excited, because they haven't missed yet, really. There's been a couple oddballs, but the best characters in the book are not the main characters, and that will probably continue on. I'm still on the fence on whether or not Federico is an honorary Henry. There was a moment there where I was thinking he was gaining on it. Yeah, I think you're right. It does say a lot about Hemingway's self-image, because we talked about this before. Hemingway, a lot of what he wrote, particularly this one, was almost a self-insert. Not quite autobiographical, but it's pretty close. It wasn't that he went through all these things, but that he imagined himself going through these things. That he thought this is how he would react in these sorts of situations. And he's not very charitable with himself. But he does see the good in other people. He sees the redeeming characteristics. He sees the charming, the wit, the magnanimity. That word always gives me a tumble, I swear. So, Hemingway is something of an interesting character study in himself. Very down on himself, but not down on humanity as a whole. He's got a surprising bit of optimism, just not targeted at himself. I think a lot of us struggle with that sometimes, but usually, well, pretty frequently, when you're down on yourself, you're also down on everyone else by extension, or collateral damage. So it's refreshing that he can still see the good in others, if not necessarily in himself. All right, So, let's go ahead and get back to our reading. We've got a fair bit ahead of us, and if I keep talking, the potential 2 days will turn into 3, and I'd really rather be done with this before we get back to Hyperion. Actually, how far along in Hyperion are we? We're at 72% in Hyperion, so we're getting close on both of our projects. Alright, so... didn't mean to minimize that. Come back. Come back. Twitch chat, I need you. There we are. Alright. So, let's shift over to our reading nook. And resume where we left off at chapter 36 of A Farewell to Arms. That night, there was a storm, and I woke to hear the rain lashing the window panes. It was coming in the open window. Someone had knocked on the door. I went to the door very softly, not to disturb Catherine, and opened it. The barman stood there. He wore his overcoat and carried his wet hat. "Can I speak to you, Tenente?" "What's the matter?" "It's a very serious matter." I looked around. The room was dark. I saw the water on the floor from the window. "Come in," I said. I took him by the arm into the bathroom, locked the door, and put on the light. I sat down on the edge of the bathtub. "What's the matter, Emilio? Are you in trouble?" "No, you are, Tenente." "Yes?" "They're going to arrest you in the morning." "Yes?" "I came to tell you. I was out in the town, and I heard them talking in a cafe." "I see." He stood there, his coat wet, holding his wet hat, and said nothing. "Why are they going to arrest me?" "For something about the war." "Do you know what?" "No, but I know that they know you were here before as an officer, and now you are here out of uniform. After this retreat, they arrest everybody." I thought a minute. "What time do they come to arrest me?" "In the morning. I don't know the time." "What do you say to do?" He put his hat in the washbowl. It was very wet and had been dripping on the floor. "If you have nothing to fear, an arrest is nothing. It is always bad to be arrested, especially now." "Yes, hello, Zoe." "I don't want to be arrested." "Then go to Switzerland." "How?" "In my boat." "There is a storm," I said. "The storm is over. It is rough, but you will be all right." "When should we go?" "Right away. They might come to arrest you early in the morning." "What about our bags?" "Get them packed. Get your lady dressed. I will take care of them." "Where will you be?" "I will wait here. I don't want anyone to see me outside in the hall." I opened the door, closed it, and went into the bedroom. Catherine was awake. "What is it, darling?" "It's all right, Cat," I said. "Would you like to get dressed right away and go on a boat to Switzerland?" "Would you?" "No," I said. "I'd like to get back to bed." "What is it about?" "The barman says they are going to arrest me in the morning." "Is the barman crazy?" "No." "Then please hurry, darling, and get dressed so we can start." She sat up on the side of the bed. She was still sleepy. "Is that the barman in the bathroom?" "Yes." "Then I won't wash. Please look the other way, darling, and I'll be dressed in just a minute." I saw her white back as she took off her nightgown. Then I looked away, because she wanted me to. She was beginning to be a little big with the child, and she did not want me to see her. I dressed, hearing the rain on the windows. I did not have much to put in my bag. "There's plenty of room in my bag, Cat, if you need any." "I'm almost packed," she said. "Darling, I'm awfully stupid, but why is the barman in the bathroom?" "He's waiting to take our bags down." "He's awfully nice." "He's an old friend," I said. I nearly sent him some pipe tobacco once. Nearly, huh? Okay. I looked out the open window at the dark night. I could not see the lake, only the dark and the rain. The wind was quieter. I'm ready, darling, Catherine said. All right. I went to the bathroom door. Here are the bags, Emilio, I said. The barman took 2 bags. You're very good to help us, Catherine said. That's nothing, lady, the barman said. I'm glad to help you, just so I don't get in trouble. I get in trouble myself. Listen, he said to me. I'll take these out the servants' stairs and to the boat. You just go out as though you were going for a walk. It's a lovely night for a walk, Catherine said. It's a bad night, all right. I'm glad I've an umbrella, Catherine said. We walked down the hall and down the wide, thickly carpeted stairs. At the foot of the stairs, by the door, the porter sat behind his desk. He looked surprised at seeing us. You're not going out, sir, he said. Yes, I said. We're going to see the storm along the lake. Haven't you got an umbrella, sir? No, I said. This coat sheds water. He looked at it doubtfully. I'll get you an umbrella, sir, he said. He went away and came back with a big umbrella. It's a little big, sir, he said. I gave him a 10-lira note. Oh, you are too good, sir. Thank you very much, he said. He held the door open, and we went out into the rain. He smiled at Catherine, and she smiled at him. Don't stay out in the storm, he said. You will get wet, sir and lady. He was only the second porter, and his English was still literally translated. We'll be back, I said. We walked down the path under the giant umbrella and out through the dark, wet gardens to the road and across the road to the trellised pathway along the lake. The wind was blowing offshore now. It was a cold, wet November wind, and I knew it was snowing in the mountains. We came along past the chained boats and the slips along the quay to where the barman's boat should be. The water was dark against the stone. The barman stepped out from beside the row of trees. The bags are in the boat, he said. I want to pay you for the boat, I said. How much money have you? Not so much. You send me money later. That will be all right. How much? How much? What do you want? What do you want? Tell me how much. If you get through, send me 500 francs. You won't mind that if you get through. All right. Here are sandwiches. He handed me a package. Everything there was in the bar. It's all here. This is a bottle of brandy and a bottle of wine. I put them in my bag. Let me pay you for those. All right. Give me 50 lire. I gave it to him. The brandy is good, he said. You don't need to be afraid to give it to your lady. Excuse me, hold on. She better get in the boat. He held the boat, it rising and falling into the stone wall, and I helped Catherine in. She sat in the stern and pulled her cape around her. You know where to go? Up the lake. You know how far? Past Luino. Past Luino, Caniero, Canobio, Trantano. You aren't in Switzerland until you come to Brissago. You have to pass Monte Tamara. What time is it? Catherine asked. It's only 11 o'clock, I said. If you row all the time, you ought to be there by 7 o'clock in the morning. Is it that far? It's 35 kilometers. How should we go? In this rain, we need a compass. No. Row to Isola Bella. Then, on the other side of Isola Madre, go with the wind. The wind will take you to Palanza. You will see the lights. Then go up the shore. Maybe the wind will change. No, he said. This wind will blow like this for 3 days. It comes straight down from the Matarone. There's a can to bail with. Let me pay you something for the boat now. No, I'd rather take a chance. If you get through, you pay me all you can. All right. I don't think you'll get drowned. That's good. Go with the wind up the lake. All right. I stepped in the boat. Did you leave the money for the hotel? Yes, in an envelope in the room. All right. Good luck, Tenente. Good luck. We thank you many times. You won't thank me if you get drowned. What does he say? Catherine asked. He says good luck. Good luck, Catherine said. Thank you very much. Are you ready? Yes. He bent down and shoved us off. I dug at the water with the oars, then waved one hand. The barman waved back deprecatingly. I saw the lights at the hotel and rowed out, rowing straight out until they were out of sight. There was quite a sea running, but we were going with the wind. Rowing out in what is the tails of a storm in the middle of the night is actually probably pretty terrifying. I'm going to be entirely honest. So there's a fair bit of urgency at hand here, given that it's entirely likely that he's going to be arrested by probably the same thugs who decided that they were taking things over and who were very, very likely on the way to turning their coats to the other side. As you may recall, Italy has a bit of a history with that in both of the Great Wars. So, I'm not sure if that's the timing that's going on now, or if it's just an unfortunate coincidence that the young strongmen are taking control here. So, let's see what chapter 37 holds. I rode in the dark, keeping the wind in my face. The rain had stopped and only came occasionally in gusts. It was very dark, and the wind was cold. I could see Catherine in the stern, but I could not see the water, where the blades of the oars dipped. The oars were long, and there were no leathers to keep them from slipping out. I pulled, raised, leaned forward, found the water, dipped and pulled, rowing as easily as I could. I did not feather the oars, because the wind was with us. I knew my hands would blister, and I wanted to delay it as long as I could. The boat was light and rowed easily. I pulled it along in the dark water. I could not see, and hoped we would soon come opposite Pallanza. We never saw Pallanza. The wind was blowing up the lake, and we passed the point that hides Pallanza in the dark, and never saw the lights. When we finally saw some lights, much further up the lake and close to the shore, it was Intra. But for a long time, we did not see any lights. Nor did we see the shore, but rowed steadily in the dark, riding with the waves. Sometimes I missed the water with the oars in the dark, as a wave lifted the boat. It was quite rough, but I kept on rowing, until, suddenly, we were close ashore against a point of rock that rose beside us, the waves striking against it, rushing high up, then falling back. I pulled hard on the right oar and backed water with the other, and we went out into the lake again. The point was out of sight, and we were going on up the lake. "We're across the lake," I said. "We're across the lake," I said to Catherine. "Weren't we going to see Pallanza?" "We've missed it." "How are you, darling?" "I'm fine." "I could take the oars a while." "No, I'm fine." "Poor Ferguson," Catherine said. "In the morning, she'll come to the hotel and find we're gone." "I'm not worrying so much about that," I said. "It's about getting into the Swiss part of the lake before it's daylight, and the custom guards see us." "Is it a long way?" "Some 30 kilometers from here." I rowed all night. Finally, my hands were so sore I could hardly close them over the oars. We were nearly smashed up on the shore several times. I kept fairly close to the shore, because I was afraid of getting lost on the lake and losing time. Sometimes we were so close we could see a row of trees and the road along the shore with the mountains behind. The rain stopped and the wind drove the clouds so that the moon shone through, and looking back, I could see the long, dark point of Castagnola, and the lake with white caps beyond, and the moon on the high snow mountains. Then the clouds came over the moon again, and the mountains and the lake were gone. But it was much lighter than it had been before. We could see the shore. I could see it too clearly, and pulled out where they would not see the boat if there were custom guards along the Pallanza road. When the moon came out again, we could see white villas on the shore and on the slopes of the mountain, and the white road where it showed through the trees. All the time, I was rowing. The lake widened, and across it, on the shore at the foot of the mountains on the other side, we saw a few lights that could be Luino. I saw a wedge-like gap between the mountains on the other shore, and I thought that must be Luino. If it was, we were making good time. I pulled in the oars and lay back on the seat. I was very, very tired of rowing. My arms and shoulders and back ached, and my hands were sore. I could hold the umbrella, Catherine said. We could sail with that, with the wind. Can you steer? I think so. You take this oar and hold it under your arm, close to the side of the boat, and steer, and I'll hold the umbrella. I went back to the stern and showed her how to hold the oar. I took the big umbrella the porter had given me and sat facing the bow and opened it. It opened with a clap. I held it on both sides, sitting astride the handle hooked over the seat. The wind was full in it, and I felt the boat suck forward while I held as hard as I could to the two edges. It pulled hard. The boat was moving fast. We're going beautifully, Catherine said. All I could see was the umbrella ribs. The umbrella strained and pulled, and I felt us driving along with it. I braced my feet and held back on it. Then, suddenly, it buckled. I felt a rib snap on my forehead. I tried to grab the top that was bending with the wind, and the whole thing buckled and went inside out. I was astride the handle of an inside-out ripped umbrella, where I had been holding a wind-filled pulling sail. I unhooked the saddle from the seat, laid the umbrella in the bow, and went back to Catherine for the oar. She was laughing. She took my hand and kept on laughing. What's the matter? I took the oar. You looked so funny holding that thing. I suppose so. Oh, don't be cross, darling. It was awfully funny. You looked about 20 feet broad and very affectionate, holding the umbrella by the edges. She joked. I'll row. Take a rest and a drink. It's a grand night, and we've come a long way. I have to keep the boat out of the trough of the waves. I'll get you a drink. Then rest a little while, darling. I held the oars up, and we sailed with them. Catherine was opening the bag. She handed me the brandy bottle. I pulled the cork with my pocket knife and took a long drink. It was smooth and hot, and the heat went all the way through me, and I felt warmed and cheerful. It's lovely brandy, I said. The moon was under again, but I could see the shore. There seemed to be another point going out a long way ahead into the table. I'm sorry. Slight break in the suspension of disbelief here. There is no lovely brandy. This is coming from someone who can drink just about anything. I do not care for brandy. Probably, soured by the fact that on my 21st birthday, my grandfather got me a bottle of the cheapest brandy I have ever seen. And it was just rubbing alcohol. I swear to God. So, there's probably better brandies. Probably. But a first experience that bad will sour you against anything. I did finish the bottle, of course. It'd be a waste otherwise. But I didn't like it. There is little that will get you as schnockered as a bottle of brandy. Uh, Usually those have an extraordinarily high proof. So they have their uses. Wisconsin Old Fashioned. I am not familiar with that one, actually. I have to look that up. Brandy, mango, sugar, orange slice, cherry. Topped with a little bit of a... Okay, soda, okay. It's probably fine. I'm really much more of a whiskey folk than a brandy sort, so give me a regular old-fashioned anytime. But I could see it being okay. There were like 3 different listings on there. There was like the sweet and sour options and just like plain sparkling water side, and like, that sounds boring. So okay, they mean Sprite. Fair. Okay. Where were we? Okay. Are you warm enough, Cat? I'm splendid. I'm a little stiff. Bail out that water and you can put your feet down. And then I rowed and listened to the oarlocks and the dip and scrape of the bailing tin under the stern seat. Would you give me the bailer? I said, I want a drink. It's awfully dirty. That's all right, I'll rinse it. I heard Catherine rinsing it over the side. Then she handed it to me and dipped full of water. I was thirsty after brandy, and the water was icy cold. So cold it made my teeth ache. I looked toward the shore. We were closer to the long point. There were lights in the bay ahead. Thanks, I said, and handed back the tin pail. You're ever so welcome, Catherine said. There's much more if you want it. There is in fact an entire lake, yes. Don't you want to eat something? No, I'll be hungry in a little while. We'll save it till then. All right. What looked like a point ahead was a long, high headland. I went further out in the lake to pass it. The lake was much narrower now. The moon was out again, and the Guardia di Finanza could have seen our boat black on the water if they'd been watching. Guardia. Why do they use the Italian right there and not... Okay. Hey. Do not fuck with the carpet down there, cat. How are you, Cat? I asked. I'm all right. Where are we? I don't think we have more than about 8 miles more. It's a long way to row, you poor sweet. Aren't you dead? No, I'm all right. My hands are sore is all. We went on up the lake. There was a break in the mountains on the right bank, a flattening out with a low shoreline that I thought must be Canopio. I stayed a long way out because it was from now on that we ran the most danger of meeting Guardia. There was a high dome-capped mountain on the other shore way ahead. I was tired. There was no great distance to row, but when you were out of condition, it had been a long way. I knew I had to pass that mountain and go up the lake at least 5 miles further before we would be in Swiss water. The moon was almost down now, but before it went down, the sky clouded over again, and it was very dark. I stayed well out in the lake, rowing a while, then resting and holding the oars so that the wind struck the blades. Let me row a while, Catherine said. I don't think you ought to. Nonsense. It would be good for me. It would keep me from being too stiff. I I don't think you should, Cat. Nonsense. Rowing in moderation is very good for the pregnant lady. All right. You row a little moderately. I'll go back, and then you come up. Hold on to both gunwales when you come up. I sat in the stern with my coat on and the collar turned up and watched Catherine row. She rowed very well, but the oars were too long and bothered her. I opened the bag and ate a couple of sandwiches and took a drink of the brandy. It made everything much better, and I took another drink. Tell me when you're tired, I said. Then, a little later, watch out the oar doesn't pop you in the tummy. If it did, Catherine said between strokes, life might be much simpler. Oh. Damn. Okay. Woo. Every once in a while, this just gets extraordinarily dark. I took another drink of the brandy. How are you going? All right. Tell me when you want to stop. All right. I took another drink of the brandy. Damn, dude, calm down. Then took hold of the two gunwales of the boat and moved forward. No, I'm going beautifully. Go on back to the stern. I've had a grand rest. For a while, with the brandy, I rowed easily and steadily. Then I began to catch crabs, and soon I was just chopping along again with a thin brown taste of bile from having rowed too hard after the brandy. Give me a drink of water, will you? Give me a drink of water, will you? I said. That's easy, Catherine said. Before daylight, it started to drizzle. The wind was down, or we were protected by mountains that bounded the curve the lake had made. When I knew daylight was coming, I settled down and rowed hard. I did not know where we were, and I wanted to get into the Swiss part of the lake. When it was beginning to be daylight, we were quite close to the shore. I could see the rocky shore and the trees. What's that? Catherine said. I rested on the oars and listened. It was a motorboat, chugging out on the lake. I pulled up close to the shore and lay quiet. The chugging came closer. Then we saw the motorboat in the rain a little stern of us. There were 4 Guardia di Finanza in the stern, their alpine hats pulled down, their cape collars turned up, and their carbines slung across their backs. They all looked sleepy so early in the morning. I could see the yellow on their hats and the yellow marks on their cape collars. The motorboat chugged on and out of sight in the rain. I pulled out into the lake. If we were that close to the border, I did not want to be hailed by a sentry along the road. I stayed out where I could just see the shore and rowed on for 3/4 of an hour in the rain. We heard a motorboat once more, but I kept quiet until the noise of the engine went away across the lake. I think we're in Switzerland, Cat, I said. Really? There's no way to know until we see Swiss troops. Or the Swiss Navy. The Swiss Navy's no joke for us. That last motorboat we heard was probably the Swiss Navy. If we're in Switzerland, we can have a big breakfast. They have wonderful rolls and butter and jam in Switzerland. Nice little joke. Swiss Navy, a motorboat. You gotta respect keeping it light in the middle of dark times. It was clear daylight now, and a fine rain was falling. The wind was still blowing outside up the lake, and we could see the tops of the white caps going away from us and up the lake. I was sure we were in Switzerland now. There were many houses back in the trees from the shore, and up the shore away was a village with stone houses, some villas on the hills, and a church. I had been looking at the road that skirted the shore for guards, but did not see any. The road came quite close to the lake now, and I saw a soldier coming out of a cafe on the road. He wore a gray-green uniform, and a helmet like the Germans. He had a healthy-looking face and a little toothbrush moustache. He looked at us. "Wave to him," I said to Catherine. She waved, and the soldier smiled embarrassedly and gave a wave of his hand. I eased up rowing. We were passing the waterfront of the village. "We must be well inside the border," I said. "We want to be sure, darling. We don't want them to turn us back at the frontier." "The frontier is a long way back. I think this is the customs town. I'm pretty sure it's Brissago." "Won't there be Italians there? There are always both sides at a customs town." "Not in wartime. I don't think they let the Italians cross the frontier." It was a nice-looking little town. There were many fishing boats along the quay, and nets were spread on racks. There was a fine November rain falling, but it looked cheerful and clean, even with the rain. "Should we land, then, and have breakfast?" "All right." I pulled hard on the left oar and came in close, then straightened out when we were close to the quay and brought the boat alongside. I pulled in the oars, took hold of an iron ring, stepped up on the wet stone, and was in Switzerland. I tied the boat, held my hand down to Catherine. "Come on up, Cat. It's a grand feeling." "What about the bags?" "Leave them in the boat." Catherine stepped up, and we were in Switzerland together. "What a lovely country," she said. "Isn't it grand? Let's go and have breakfast." "Isn't it a grand country? I love the way it feels under my shoes." "I'm so stiff I can't feel it very well, but it feels like a splendid country, darling. Do you realize we're here and out of that bloody place?" "I do. I really do. I've never realized anything before." "Look at the houses. Isn't this a fine square? It's a place we can get breakfast." "Isn't the rain fine? They never had rain like this in Italy. It's cheerful rain." "And we're here, darling. Do you realize we're here?" We went inside the cafe and sat down at a clean wooden table. We were cockeyed, excited. A splendid, clean-looking woman with an apron came and asked us what we wanted. "Rolls and jam and coffee," Catherine said. "I'm sorry, we haven't any rolls in wartime. Bread, then." I can make you some toast." "All right." "I want some fried eggs, too." "How many eggs for the gentleman?" "3. Take 4, darling." 4 eggs." The woman went away. I kissed Catherine and held her hand very tight. We looked at each other and at the cafe. "Darling, darling, isn't it lovely?" "It's grand," I said. "I don't mind there not being rolls," Catherine said. "I thought about them all night, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all." "I suppose pretty soon they will arrest us." "Never mind, darling. We'll have breakfast first. You won't mind being arrested after breakfast. And then there's nothing they can do to us. We're British and American citizens in good standing." "You have a passport, haven't you?" "Of course. Let's not talk about it. Let's be happy." "I couldn't be any happier," I said. A fat gray cat with a tail that lifted like a plume crossed the floor to our table and curved against my leg to purr each time she rubbed. I reached down and stroked her. Catherine smiled at me very happily. "Here comes the coffee," she said. "Okay, maybe he's okay after all. He's good to cats. He's at least better than Henry. Better than a Henry." I'm not sure if he's kind of tumbling and fighting, jockeying for position with Vic. Especially now that he's in Switzerland. But he's definitely above the Henrys. We'll see. There's time for things to go either direction still. We are indeed. We are. They arrested us after breakfast. We took a little walk through the village and then went down to the quay to get our bags. A soldier was standing guard over the boat. "Is this your boat?" "Yes." "Where do you come from?" "Up the lake." "Then I have to ask you to come with me." "How about the bags?" "You can carry the bags." I carried the bags, and Catherine walked beside me, and the soldier walked along behind us to the old custom house. In the custom house, a lieutenant, very thin and military, questioned us. "What nationality are you?" "American and British." "Let me see your passports." I gave him mine, and Catherine got hers out of her handbag. He examined them for a long time. "Why do you enter Switzerland this way in a boat?" "I'm a sportsman," I said. "Rowing is my great sport. I always row when I get a chance." "Why do you come here?" "For the winter sport. We are tourists, and we want to do the winter sport." "This is no place for winter sport." "We know it. We want to go where they have the winter sport." "What have you been doing in Italy?" "I have been studying architecture. My cousin has been studying art." "Why do you leave there?" "We want to do the winter sport. With the war going on, you cannot study architecture." "You will please stay where you are," the lieutenant said. We went back into the building with our passports. "You're splendid, darling," Catherine said. "Keep on the same track. You want to do the winter sport." Do you know anything about art?" "Rubens," said Catherine. "Large and fat," I said. "Titian," Catherine said. "Titian-haired," I said. "About Mantegna." "Don't ask hard ones," Catherine said. "I know him, though. Very bitter." "Very bitter," I said. "Lots of nail holes." "You see, I'll make you a fine wife," Catherine said. "I'll be able to talk art with your customers." Let's get rid of that bot. Goodbye. All right. "Here he comes," I said. The thin lieutenant came down the length of the custom house, holding our passports. "I will have to send you into Locarno," he said. "You can get a carriage, and a soldier will go in with you." "All right," I said. "What about the boat?" "The boat is confiscated. What have you in those bags?" He went all through the 2 bags and held up the quarter bottle of brandy. "Would you join me in a drink?" I asked. "No, thank you." He straightened up. "How much money have you?" 2,500 lire. He was favorably impressed. "How much has your cousin?" Catherine had a little over 1,200 lire. The lieutenant was pleased. His attitude toward us became less haughty. "If you're going for winter sports," he said, "Wengen is the place. My father has a very fine hotel at Wengen. It's open all the time." "That's splendid," I said. "Could you give me the name?" "I will write it on a card." He handed me the card very politely. "The soldier will take you into Locarno. He will keep your passports. I regret this, but it is necessary. I have good hopes they will give you a visa or a police permit at Locarno." He handed the 2 passports to the soldier, and carrying the bags, we started into the village to order a carriage. "Hi!" the lieutenant called to the soldier. He said something in a German dialect to him. The soldier slung his rifle on his back and picked up the bags. "It's a great country," I said to Catherine. "It's so practical." "Thank you very much," I said to the lieutenant. He waved his hand. "Service," he said. We followed our guard into the village. We drove to Locarno in a carriage with the soldier sitting on the front seat with the driver. At Locarno, we did not have a bad time. They questioned us, but they were polite because we had passports and money. I do not think they believed a word of the story, and I thought it was silly, but it was like a law court. You did not want something reasonable, you wanted something technical, and then stuck to it without explanations. But we had passports, and we would spend the money, so they gave us provisional visas. At any time, the visa might be withdrawn. We were to report to the police wherever we went. Could we go wherever we wanted? Yes. Where did we want to go? Where do you want to go, Cat? Montreux? It is a very nice place, the official said. I think you will like that place. Here at Locarno is a very nice place, another official said. I am sure you would like it here very much at Locarno. Locarno is a very attractive place. We would like some place where there is winter sport. There is no winter sport at Montreux. I beg your pardon, the other official said. I come from Montreux. There is very certainly winter sport on the Montreux-Oberlin-Benoit Railway. It would be false for you to deny that. I do not deny it. I simply said there is no winter sport at Montreux. I question that, the other official said. I question that statement. I hold to that statement. I question that statement. I, myself, have luged into the streets of Montreux. I have done it not once, but several times. Luging is certainly winter sport. I love the idea of these officials arguing with each other, with, effectively, illegal immigrants sitting across the table from them. The other official turned to me. Is luging your idea of winter sport, sir? I tell you, you would be very comfortable here in Locarno. You would find the climate healthy. You would find the environment attractive. You would like it very much. The gentleman has expressed a wish to go to Montreux. What is luging? I asked. You see, he has never even heard of luging. That meant a great deal to the second official. He was pleased by that. Luging, said the first official, is tobogganing. I beg to differ, the other official shook his head. I must differ again. The toboggan is very different from the luge. The toboggan is constructed in Canada of flat lathes. The luge is a common sled with runners. Accuracy means something. Couldn't we toboggan? I asked. Of course you can toboggan, the first official said. You can toboggan very well. Excellent Canadian toboggans are sold in Montreux. Ox Brothers sell toboggans. They import their own toboggans. The second official turned away. Tobogganing, he said, requires a special pist. You could not toboggan into the streets of Montreux. Where are you stopping here? We don't know, I said. We just drove in from Brissago. The carriage is outside. All right. Very quick stop, unfortunately. We've got ads starting, and I'd rather not snooze because I don't know where the next break is. So, let's take a few minutes. Stand up, stretch your legs, top up your drinks. We'll continue from the top of this page as soon as we get back. Thanks much, guys. All right, we are back. All right, so that actually timed our ad break quite nicely, actually. That puts us at just south of an hour remaining in our normal schedule, which should mean that we will get by without having to have another ad break. And that is exactly how I like things around here. As little interruption as possible. So, before we get back into it, I'm really enjoying the dynamic of the border guards, the customs officers here. They strike me as just two old drinking buddies arguing back and forth and like getting into the semantics of sledding. Just like, no, that can't possibly count as a winter sport. That's just play. No, you can't toboggan down the street. Just, oh, they're the sorts. They're the sort that you could sit down and have some fun with. I'm certain. They seem like a good sort. And we continue the trend of the side characters in this book and in many Hemingway books being fantastic and better than the main characters in almost universal. So let's see how this carries on, and if we'll meet any new characters who will be better than Federico. You make no mistake in going to Montreux, the first official said. You will find the climate delightful and beautiful. You'll have no distance to go for winter sport. If you really want winter sport, the second official said, you will go to either Engadine or to Muren. I must protest against your being advised to go to the mountains in Montreux for winter sport. At Les Avants, above Montreux, there is excellent winter sport of every sort. The champion of Montreux glared at his colleague. Gentlemen, I said, I am afraid we must go. My cousin is very tired. We will go tentatively to Montreux. I congratulate you. The first official shook my hand. I believe you will regret leaving Locarno, the second official said. At any rate, you will report to the police at Montreux. There will be no unpleasantness with the police, the first official assured me. You will find all the inhabitants extremely courteous and friendly. Thank you both very much, I said. We appreciate your advice very much. Goodbye, Catherine said. Thank you both very much. They bowed us to the door, the champion of Locarno a little coldly. We went down the steps and into the carriage. My God, darling, Catherine said. Couldn't we have gotten away any sooner? I gave the name of a hotel one of the officials had recommended to the driver. He picked up the reins. You've forgotten the army, Catherine said. The soldier was standing by the carriage. I gave him a 10-lira note. I have no Swiss money yet, I said. He thanked me, saluted, and went off. The carriage started, and we drove to the hotel. Ah, yes. As you do when you're illegally entering a country, you grease palms wherever you go. How did you happen to pick out Montreux? I asked Catherine. Do you really want to go there? It was the first place I could think of, she said. It's not a bad place. We can find some place up the mountains. Are you sleepy? I am asleep right now. We'll get a good sleep. Poor cat. You had a long, bad night. I had a lovely time, Catherine said, especially when you sailed with the umbrella. Can you realize we're in Switzerland? No, I'm afraid I'll wake up and it won't be true. I am too. It is true, isn't it, darling? I'm not just driving down in the Stazione in Milan to see you off. I hope not. Don't say that. It frightens me. Maybe that's where we're going. I'm so groggy, I don't know. I said, let me see your hands. I put them out. They were both blistered raw. There's no hole in my side. I said, don't be sacrilegious. I don't know, a little bit of sacrilege is fine. Come on. I felt very tired and vague in the head. The exhilaration was all gone. The carriage was going along the street. Poor hands, Catherine said. Don't touch them, I said. My God, I don't know where we are. Where are we going, driver? The driver stopped his horse. To the Hotel Metropole? Don't you want to go there? Yes, I said. It's all right, Cat. It's all right, darling. Don't be upset. We'll get a good sleep and you won't feel groggy tomorrow. I get pretty groggy, I said. It's like a comic opera today. Maybe I'm hungry. You're just tired, darling. You'll be fine. The carriage pulled up before the hotel. Someone came out to take our bags. I feel all right, I said. We were down on the pavement going into the hotel. I know you'll be all right. You're just tired. You've been up a long time. Anyhow, we're here. Yes, we're really here. We followed the boy with the bags into the hotel. And that brings us to the end of Book 4, The Flight from Italy. Which means, as if we follow along with what's been happening with the previous shifts in books, there's usually a bit of a time jump and a dramatic thematic change between the books. So, this is either going to be still in exile in Switzerland, or they'll have gone off and done their thing. Maybe we'll jump ahead to when she's further along in the pregnancy. I don't know. We will, in fact, find out, though, because there is still quite a lot of time tonight. So we're going to continue with Book 5. Chapter 38. That fall, the snow came very late. We lived in a brown wooden house in the pine trees on the side of the mountain, and at night there was frost, so that there was thin ice over the water in the 2 pitchers on the dresser in the morning. Mrs. Gutenberg came into the room early in the morning to shut the windows, and started a fire in the tall porcelain stove. The pine wood crackled and sparked, and then the fire roared in the stove, and the second time Mrs. Gutenberg came into the room, she brought big chunks of wood for the fire and a pitcher of hot water. When the room was warm, she brought in breakfast. Sitting up in bed eating breakfast, we could see the lake and the mountains across the lake on the French side. There was snow on the tops of the mountains, and the lake was a gray steel blue. Outside, in front of the chalet, a road went up into the mountain. The wheel ruts and ridges were iron hard with the frost, and the road climbed steadily through the forest, and up and around the mountain, to where there were meadows and barns and cabins in the meadows at the edge of the woods looking across the valley. The valley was deep, and there was a stream at the bottom that flowed down into the lake, and when the wind blew across the valley, you could hear the stream and the rocks. Hi, Simba. Hi, buddy. Oh, yeah. Sometimes we went off the road and on a path through the pine forest. The floor of the forest was soft to walk on. The frost did not harden it as it did the road, but we did not mind the hardness of the road, because we had nails in the soles and heels of our boots, and the heel nails bit on the frozen ruts, and with nailed boots it was good walking on the road, and invigorating. But it was lovely walking in the woods. In front of the house where we lived, the mountain went down steeply to the little plain along the lake, and we sat on the porch of the house in the sun and saw the winding of the road down the mountainside, and the terraced vineyards on the side of the lower mountain. The vines all dead now for the winter, and the fields divided by stone walls, and below the vineyards the houses of the town on the narrow plain along the lake shore. There was an island with 2 trees in the lake, and the trees looked like the double sails of a fishing boat. The mountains were sharp and steep on the other side of the lake down at the end. At the end of the lake there was the plain of the Rhone Valley, flat between the 2 ranges of mountains. And up the valley, where the mountains cut it off, was the Dent du Midi. It was a high, snowy mountain, and it dominated the valley, but it was so far away that it did not make a shadow. When the sun was bright, we ate lunch on the porch, but the rest of the time we ate upstairs, in a small room with plain wooden walls and a big stove in the corner. We bought books and magazines in the town and a copy of Hoyle, and learned many two-handed card games. The small room with the stove was our living room. There were 2 comfortable chairs and a table for books and magazines, and we played cards on the dining table when it was cleared away. Mr. and Mrs. Gutenberg lived downstairs, and we would hear them talking sometimes in the evening, and they were very happy together too. He had been a head waiter, and she had worked as maid in the same hotel, and they had saved their money to buy this place. They had a son who was studying to be a head waiter. He was at a hotel in Zurich. Downstairs there was a parlor where they sold wine and beer, and sometimes in the evening we would hear carts stop outside on the road, and men come up to the steps to go into the parlor to drink wine. There was a box of wood in the hall outside the living room, and I kept up the fire from it. But we did not stay up very late. We went to bed in the dark in the big bedroom, and when I was undressed I opened the windows and saw the night and the cold stars and the pine trees below the window, and then got into bed as fast as I could. It was lovely in bed with the air so cold and clear and the night outside the window. We slept well, and if I woke in the night I knew it was from only one cause, and I would shift the feather bed over, very softly, so that Catherine would not be wakened, and then go back to sleep again, warm, and with the new lightness of thin covers. The war seemed as far away as the football games of someone else's college. But I knew from the papers they were still fighting in the mountains, because the snow would not come. Seems all very comfortable in their little hiding place away from the war. Sometimes we walked down the mountain into Montreux. There was a path went down the mountain, but it was steep, and so usually we took the road and walked down on the wide, hard road between fields, and then below between the stone walls of the vineyards, and on down between the houses of the villages along the way. There were 3 villages, Chernay, Fontainebleau, and the other I forget. Lordy, got some rather large thunderclaps around here. So far, no hiccups or anything of the sort, so we'll let it keep on rolling, but that was a good one. Then, along the road, we passed an old square-built stone chateau, on a ledge on the side of the mountainside with the terraced fields of vines, each vine tied to a stick to hold it up. The vines dry and brown, and the earth ready for the snow, and the lake down below flat and gray as steel. The road went down a long grade below the chateau, and then turned to the right, and went down very steeply and paved with cobbles into Montreux. We did not know anyone in Montreux. We walked along beside the lake and saw the swans and the many gulls and terns that flew up when you came close and screamed while they looked down at the water. Out on the lake there were flocks of grebes, small and dark, and leaving trails in the water when they swam. In the town we walked along the main street and looked in the windows of the shops. There were many big hotels that were closed, but most of the shops were open, and the people were very glad to see us. There was a fine coiffeur's place where Catherine went to have her hair done. The woman who ran it was very cheerful, and the only person we knew in Montreux. While Catherine was there, I went up to a beer place and drank dark Munich beer and read the papers. I read the Corriere della Sera and the English and American papers from Paris. All the advertisements were blacked out, supposedly to prevent communication in that way with the enemy. The papers were bad reading. Everything was going badly everywhere. I sat back at the corner with a heavy mug of dark beer and opened a glazed paper package of pretzels and ate the pretzels for the salty flavor and the good way they made the beer taste, and read about disaster. Pretzels and beer is a fine combo. I will never gainsay that. I thought Catherine would come by, but she did not. Did not come. So I hung the papers back on the rack, paid for my beer, and went up the street to look for her. The day was cold and dark and wintry, and the stone of the houses looked cold. Catherine was still in the hairdresser's shop. The woman was waving her hair. I sat in the little booth and watched. It was exciting to watch, and Catherine smiled and talked to me, and my voice was a little thick from being excited. The tongs made a pleasant clicking sound, and I could see Catherine in 3 mirrors, and it was pleasant and warm in the booth. Then the woman put up Catherine's hair, and Catherine looked in the mirror and changed it a little, taking out and putting in pins, then stood up. "I'm sorry to have taken such a long time." "Monsieur was very interested, were you not, monsieur?" The woman smiled. "Yes," I said. We went out and up the street. It was cold and wintry, and the wind was blowing. Oh, darling, I love you so," I said. "Don't we have a fine time?" Catherine said. "Look, let's go someplace and have beer instead of tea. It's very good for young Catherine. Keeps her small." Hold on. "Young Catherine," I said. "That loafer." "She's been very good," Catherine said. "She makes very little trouble. The doctor says beer will be good for me and keep her small." So, I don't have any kids of my own, but I rather know you're not really encouraged to drink during pregnancy, and encouraging the child to be small is usually not the desired goal, but okay. If you keep her small enough, and she's a boy, maybe he will be a jockey. I suppose if we really have this child, we ought to get married, Catherine said. We were in the beer place at the corner table. That's a rather charitable interpretation of that. I'm rather certain that is, they're not quite, yeah, that is true. Medical science wasn't quite there yet. And also, they're kind of blasé about the child in general. Whether it should arrive or not, I think they wouldn't mind either way terribly so. I suppose if we really have this child, we ought to get married, Catherine said. We were in the beer place at the corner table. It was getting dark outside. It was still early, but the day was dark and the dusk was coming early. Let's get married now. I said. No, Catherine said. It's too embarrassing now. I show too plainly. I won't go before anyone and be married in this state. I wish we'd gotten married. I suppose it would have been better. But when could we, darling? I don't know. I know one thing. I'm not going to be married in this splendidly matronly state. You're not matronly. Oh, yes, I am, darling. The hairdresser asked me if this was our first. I lied and said, no, we had 2 boys and 2 girls. When will we be married? Any time after I'm thin again. We want to have a splendid wedding, with everyone thinking what a handsome young couple. And you're not worried? Darling, why should I be worried? The only time I ever felt badly was when I felt like a whore in Milan. And that only lasted 7 minutes, and beside it was the room furnishings. Don't I make you a good wife? You're a lovely wife. Then don't be too technical, darling. I'll marry you as soon as I'm thin again. All right. Do you think I ought to drink another beer? The doctor said I was rather narrow in the hips, and it's all for the best if we keep young Catherine small. What else did he say? I was worried. Nothing. I have a wonderful blood pressure, darling. He admired my blood pressure greatly. What did he say about you being too narrow in the hips? Nothing. Nothing at all. He said I shouldn't ski. Quite right. He said it was too late to start if I'd never done it before. He said I could ski if I wouldn't fall down. He's just a big-hearted joker. Really, he was very nice. We'll have him when the baby comes. Did you ask him if you ought to get married? No, I told him we'd been married 4 years. You see, darling, if I marry you, I'll be an American. And any time we're married under American law, the child is legitimate. Where did you find that out? In the New York World Almanac in the library. You're a grand girl. I'll be very glad to be an American. And we'll go to America, won't we, darling? I want to see Niagara Falls. You're a fine girl. There's something else I want to see, but I can't remember it. The stockyards? No, I can't remember it. The Woolworth Building? No. The Grand Canyon? No, but I'd like to see that. What was it? The Golden Gate! That's what I want to see. Where's the Golden Gate? San Francisco. Then let's go there. I want to see San Francisco anyway. All right. We'll go there. Now, let's go up the mountain, should we? Can we get the MOB? There's a train a little after 5. Let's get that. All right. I'll drink one more beer first. When we went out to go up the street and climb the stairs to the station, it was very cold. A cold wind was coming down the Rhone Valley. There were lights in the shop windows, and we climbed the steep stone stairway to the upper street. Then, up another stairs to the station. The electric train was there waiting, all the lights on. There was a dial that showed when it left. Clock hands pointed to 10 minutes after 5. I looked at the station clock. It was 5 minutes after. As we got on board, I saw the motorman and the conductor coming out of the station wine shop. We sat down and opened the window. The train was electrically heated and stuffy, but fresh, cold air came in through the window. Are you tired, Cat? I asked. No, I feel splendid. It isn't a long ride. I like the ride, she said. Don't worry about me, darling. I feel fine. Snow did not come until 3 days before Christmas. We woke one morning and it was snowing. We stayed in bed with the fire roaring in the stove and watched the snow fall. Mrs. Gutenberg took away the breakfast trays and put more wood in the stove. It was a big snowstorm. She said it had started about midnight. I went to the window and looked out but could not see across the road. It was blowing and snowing wildly. I went back to bed and we lay and talked. I wish I could ski, Catherine said. It's rotten not to be able to ski. We'll get a bobsled and come down the road. That's no worse for you than riding in a car. Won't it be rough? We can see. I hope it won't be too rough. After a while, we'll take a walk in the snow. Before lunch, Catherine said, so we'll have a good appetite. I'm always hungry. So am I. We went out in the snow, but it was drifted so that we could not walk far. I went ahead and made a trail down to the station, but when we reached there, we had gone far enough. The snow was blowing, so we could hardly see, and we went into the little inn by the station and swept each other off with a broom and sat on a bench and had vermouths. It is a big storm. Oh, it is a big storm, the barmaid said. Yes. The snow is very late this year. Yes. Could I eat a chocolate bar? Catherine said. Or is it too close to lunch? I'm always hungry. Go on and eat one, I said. I'll take one with filberts, Catherine said. Oh, they are very good, the girl said. I like them the best. I'll have another vermouth, I said. Of course you will. When we came out to start back up the road, our track was filled in by the snow. There were only faint indentations where the holes had been. The snow blew on our faces so we could hardly see. We brushed off and went in to have lunch. Mr. Gutenberg served the lunch. Tomorrow morning there will be skiing, he said. Do you ski, Mr. Henry? No, but I want to learn. You will learn very easily. My boy will be here for Christmas, and he will teach you. That's fine. When does he come? Tomorrow night. When we were sitting by the stove in the little room after lunch, looking out the window at the snow coming down, Catherine said, Wouldn't you like to go on a trip somewhere by yourself, darling? And be with men and ski? No. Why should I? I should think sometimes you would want to see other people besides me. Do you want to see other people? No. Neither do I. Neither do I. I know, but you're different. I'm having a child, and that makes me contented not to do anything. I know I'm awfully stupid now, and I talk too much, and I think you ought to get away so you won't be tired of me. Do you want me to go away? No, I want you to stay. That's what I'm going to do. Come over here, she said. I want to feel the bump on your head. It's a big bump. She ran her finger over it. Darling, would you like to grow a beard? Would you like me to? It might be fun. I'd like to see you with a beard. All right, I'll grow one. I'll start now, this minute. It's a good idea. It will give me something to do. Yes, something to do. Stay very busy as you think very firmly about growing a beard. Yes. Are you worried because you haven't anything to do? No, I like it. I have a fine life. Don't you? I have a lovely life. But I was afraid because I'm big now that maybe I was a bore to you. Oh, Cat. You don't know how crazy I am about you. This way? Just the way you are. I have a fine time. Don't we have a good life? I do, but I thought maybe you were restless. No. Sometimes I wonder about the front and about people, I know, but I don't worry. I don't think about anything much. Who do you wonder about? About Rinaldi, and the priest, and lots of people I know, but I don't think about them much. I don't want to think about the war. I'm through with it. What are you thinking about now? Nothing. Yes, you were. Tell me. I was wondering whether Rinaldi had the syphilis. Was that all? Yes. Has he the syphilis? I don't know. I'm glad you haven't. Did you ever have anything like that? I had gonorrhea. I don't want to hear about it. Was it very painful, darling? Very. I wish I'd had it. No, you don't. I do. I wish I'd had it to be like you. I wish I'd stayed with all your girls so I could make fun of them to you. That's a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture, you having gonorrhea. Yeah, I know it. Look at it snow now. I'd rather look at you, darling. Why don't you let your hair grow? How grow? Just grow a little longer. It's long enough now. No, let it grow a little longer, and I could cut mine. We'd be just alike. only one of us blonde and one of us dark. I wouldn't let you cut yours. Oh, it would be fun. I'm tired of it. It's an awful nuisance in the bed at night. I like it. Wouldn't you like it short? I might. I like it the way it is. It might be nice short. Then we'd both be alike. Oh, darling, I want you so much. I want to be you, too. You are. We're the same one. I know it. At night we are. The nights are grand. These two are a little creepy, honestly. I want us to be all mixed up. I don't want you to go away. I just said that. You go if you want to, but hurry right back. Why, darling, I don't live at all when I'm not with you. I won't ever go away, I said. I'm no good when you're not there. I haven't any life at all anymore. I want you to have a life. I want you to have a fine life, but we'll have it together, won't we? And now, do you want me to stop growing my beard or let it go on? Go on. Grow it. It will be exciting. Maybe it will be done for New Year's. Now, do you want to play chess? I'd rather play with you. No, let's play chess. And afterward, we'll play? All right. Yes, all right. I got out the chessboard and arranged the pieces. It was still snowing hard outside. Well, do remember, she was a little crazy all from the start. Like, right from the very beginning, she was a little overly attached very quickly. So, it's not just the pregnancy, it's not just baby brain going on. They're both a little cracked. War does things, I guess, but still. Yeah. Also the war trauma. One time, in the night, I woke up and knew that Catherine was awake too. The moon was shining in the window and made shadows on the bed from the bars on the window panes. Are you awake, sweetheart? Yes. Can't you sleep? Which one is talking now? Are you awake, sweetheart? Yes. Can't you sleep? I just woke up thinking about how I was nearly crazy when I first met you. Do you remember? You were just a little crazy. I'm never that way anymore. I'm grand now. You say grand so sweetly. Say grand. Grand. Oh, you're sweet. And I'm not crazy now. I'm just very, very, very happy. Go on to sleep, I said. All right. Let's go to sleep at exactly the same moment. All right. But we did not. I was awake for quite a long time, thinking about things and watching Catherine sleeping, the moonlight on her face. Then I went to sleep too. All right. That brings us to the end of chapter 38. How many chapters are in this? We're at about 90%. Okay, so there are 3 chapters remaining. We've got about... if we go late tonight, I think we can finish. It's a little too early to be cutting it out early. Alright, let's just power through. Chapter 39. By the middle of January, I had a beard, and winter had settled into bright, cold days and hard, cold nights. We could walk on the roads again. The snow was packed hard and smooth by the hay sleds and the wood sledges and the logs that were hauled down the mountain. The snow lay all over the country, down almost Montreux. The mountains on the other side of the lake were all white, and the plain of the Rhone Valley was covered. We took long walks on the other side of the mountain to the Bain d'Alais. Catherine wore hobnailed boots and a cape and carried a stick with a sharp steel point. She did not look big with the cape, and we would not walk too fast, but stopped and sat on logs by the roadside to rest when she was tired. There was an inn in the trees at the Bain d'Alais, where the woodcutters stopped to drink. And we sat inside, warmed by the stove, and drank hot red wine with spices and lemon in it. And they called it Glühwein, and it was a good thing to warm you and to celebrate with. The inn was dark and smoky inside, and afterward, when you went out, for the cold air came sharply into your lungs and numbed the edge of your nose as you inhaled. We looked back at the inn, with light coming from the windows and the woodcutters' horses stamping and jerking their heads outside to keep warm. There was frost on the hairs of their muzzles, and their breathing made plumes of frost in the air. Going up to the road toward home, the road was smooth and slippery for a while, and the ice orange from the horses until the wood-hauling track turned off. Then the road was clean-packed snow, and led through the woods, and twice coming home in the evening we saw foxes. It was a fine country, and every time that we went out it was fun. "You have a splendid beard now," Catherine said. "It looks just like the woodcutters. Did you see the man with the tiny gold earrings?" "He's a chamois hunter," I said. "They wear them because they say it makes them hear better." "Really? I don't believe it. I think they wear them to show they are chamois hunters. Are there chamois here?" "Yes, beyond Dent de Romont." "It was fun seeing the fox." "When he sleeps, he wraps that tail around him to keep warm. It must be a lovely feeling." "I always wanted to have a tail like that. Wouldn't it be fun if we had brushes like a fox?" "It might be very difficult dressing." "We'd have clothes made, or live in a country where it wouldn't make any difference." "We live in a country where nothing makes any difference. Isn't it grand how we never see anyone? You don't want to see people, do you, darling?" "No." "Should we sit here just a minute? I am a little tired." We sat close together on the logs. Ahead, the road went down through the forest. "She won't come between us, will she, the little brat?" "No, we won't let her." "How are we for money?" "We have plenty. They honored the last sight draft." "Won't your family try and get hold of you, now they know you're in Switzerland?" "Probably. I'll write them something." "Haven't you written them?" "No, only the sight draft." "Thank God I'm not your family." "I'll send them a cable." "Don't you care anything about them?" "I did, but we quarreled so much it wore itself out." "I think I'd like them. I'd probably like them very much." "Let's not talk about them, or I'll start to worry about them." After a while I said, "Let's go on, if you're rested." "I'm rested." We went on down the road. It was dark now, and the snow squeaked under our boots. The night was dry and cold and very clear. "I love your beard," Catherine said. "It's a great success. It looks so stiff and fierce, and it's very soft and a great pleasure." "Do you like it better than without?" "I think so. You know, darling, I'm not going to cut my hair now, until after young Catherine's born. I look too big and matronly now. But after she's born and I'm thin again, I'm going to cut it. And then I'll be a fine, new, and different girl for you. We'll go together and get it cut. Or I'll go alone and come and surprise you." I did not say anything. "You won't say I can't, will you?" "No. I think it would be exciting." "Oh, you're so sweet. And maybe I'd look lovely, darling, and be so thin and exciting to you, and you'll fall in love with me all over again." "Hell," I said, "I love you enough now. What do you want me to do? Ruin me? Yes, I want to ruin you. Good, said. That's what I want to. So, they're a little weird together, but they are cute together. I'm not sure how much of this is forced, but they're kind of cute together. Chapter 40. We had a fine life. We lived through the months of January and February, and the winter was very fine, and we were very happy. There had been short thaws when the wind blew warm, and the snow softened, and the air felt like spring. But always the clear, hard cold had come again, and the winter had returned. In March came the first break in the winter. In the night, it started raining. It rained on all morning, and turned the snow to slush, and made the mountainside dismal. There were clouds over the lake and over the valley. It was raining high up in the mountain. Catherine wore heavy overshoes, and I wore Mr. Gutenberg's rubber boots, and we walked to the station under an umbrella. Through the slush and the running water that was washing the ice of the roads bare, to stop at the pub before lunch for vermouth. Outside, we could hear the rain. Do you think we ought to move into town? What do you think? Catherine asked. If the winter is over and the rain keeps up, it won't be fun up there. How long is it before young Catherine? About a month, perhaps a little more. Yeah, we've seen depictions of the alternative, when people were just awful to each other and falling to pieces. So this is at least, they're making an effort to keep themselves from going out in a spectacular fireball of hate. So, I'll take this over the alternative. Absolutely. We might go down and stay in Montreux. Why don't we go to Lausanne? That's where the hospital is. All right. But I thought maybe that was too big a town. We can be as much alone in a bigger town, and Lausanne might be nice. When should we go? I don't care. Whenever you want, darling. I don't want to leave here if you don't want. Let's see how the weather turns out. It rained for 3 days. The snow was all gone now on the mountain. On the mountainside below the station. The road was a torrent of muddy snow water. It was too wet and slushy to go out. On the morning of the 3rd day of rain, we decided to go into town. That is all right, Mr. Henry. You do not need to give me any notice. I did not think you would want to stay now the bad weather has come. We have to be near the hospital anyway, on account of Madame, I said. I understand, he said. Will you come back sometime and stay? With the little one? Yes, if you would have room. In the spring, when it is nice, you could come and enjoy it. We could put the little one and the nurse in the big room that is closed now, and you and Madame could have your same room looking out over the lake. I'll write about coming, I said. We packed and left on the train that went down after lunch. Mr. and Mrs. Gutenberg came down to the station with us, and he hauled our baggage down on a sled through the slush. They stood beside the station in the rain, waving goodbye. They were very sweet, Catherine said. They were fine to us. It is really cool how, like, all of the people that are running the inns and such, they feel like they're just adopted family. That's, a lot of it is just by nature of the small town and small establishment sort of thing, and also a product of the times. But it's still really nice to see. You just find new family wherever you stay for a while. We took the train to Lausanne from Montreux. Looking out the window toward where we had lived, you could not see the mountains for the clouds. The train stopped in Vevey, then went on, passing the lake on one side, and on the other the wet brown fields and the bare woods and the wet houses. We came into Lausanne and went into a medium-sized hotel to stay. It was still raining as we drove through the streets and into the carriage entrance of the hotel. The concierge with brass keys on his lapels, the elevator, the carpets on the floors, and the white wash bowls with shining fixtures. The brass bed and the big comfortable bedroom all seemed very great luxury after the Gutenbergs. The windows of the room looked out on a wet garden with a wall topped by an iron fence. Across the street, which sloped steeply, was another hotel with a similar wall and garden. I looked out at the rain falling in the fountain of the garden. Catherine turned on all the lights and commenced unpacking. I ordered a whiskey and soda and lay on the bed and read the papers. The papers I had bought at the station. It was March, 1918, and the German offensive had started in France. I drank the whiskey and soda and read while Catherine unpacked and moved around the room. "You know what I have to get, darling," she said. "What?" "Baby clothes. There aren't many people who reach my time without baby things." "You can buy them." "I know. That's what I'll do tomorrow. I'll find out what is necessary." "You want to know. You were a nurse. But so few of the soldiers had babies in the hospitals." "I did." She hit me with the pillow and spilled the whiskey and soda. "I'll order you another," she said. "I'm sorry I spilled it." There wasn't much left. "Come on over to the bed." "No, I have to try and make this room look like something." "Like what?" "Like our home." Hang up the Allied flags. "Oh, shut up. Say it again. Shut up." "You say it so cautiously," I said, "as though you didn't want to offend anyone." "I don't." "Then come over to the bed." "All right." She came and sat on the bed. "I know I'm no fun for you, darling. I'm like a big flour barrel." "No, you're not. You're beautiful, and you're sweet." "I'm just something very ungainly that you've married." "No, you're not. You're more beautiful all the time." "But I will be thin again, darling." "You're thin now. You've been drinking." "Just whiskey and soda." "There's another one coming," she said. "And then, should we order dinner up here?" "That will be good." "Then we won't go out, will we? We'll just stay in tonight." "And play," I said. "I'll drink some wine," Catherine said. "It won't hurt me. Maybe we can get some of our old white Capri." "I know we can," I said. "They'll have Italian wines at a hotel this size." The waiter knocked at the door. He brought the whiskey in a glass with ice, and beside the glass on a tray a small bottle of soda. "Thank you," I said. "Put it down there. Will you please have dinner for two brought up here, and two bottles of dry white Capri in ice?" "Do you wish to commence your dinner with soup?" "Do you want soup, Cat?" "Please." "Bring soup for one." "Thank you, sir." He went out and shut the door. Went back to the papers and the war in the papers and poured the soda slowly over the ice into the whiskey. I'd have to tell them not to put ice in the whiskey. Let them bring the ice separately. That way you could tell how much whiskey there was, and it would not suddenly be too thin from the soda. And get a bottle of whiskey and have them bring ice and soda. That was the sensible way. Good whiskey was very pleasant. It was one of the pleasant parts of life. "What are you thinking, darling?" "About whiskey." "What about whiskey?" "About how nice it is." Catherine made a face. "All right," she said. "Catherine, don't judge. Whiskey is indeed very nice." He does sound like a major pain in the ass as a customer. But as a guest and just doing his own business, it's fine. But don't ask for things like that. We stayed at that hotel 3 weeks. It was not bad. The dining room was usually empty, and very often we ate in our room at night. We walked in the town and took the cog-wheel railway down to Ushi and walked beside the lake. The weather became quite warm, and it was like spring. We wished we were back in the mountains, but the spring weather lasted only a few days, and then the cold rawness of the breaking up of winter came again. Catherine bought the things she needed for the baby up in the town. I went to the gymnasium and the arcade to box for exercise. I usually went up there in the morning, while Catherine stayed late in bed. On the days of false spring, it was very nice. After boxing and taking a shower, to walk along the streets smelling the spring in the air and stop at a cafe to sit and watch the people and read the paper and drink a vermouth. Then go down to the hotel and have a lunch with Catherine. The professor at the boxing gymnasium wore moustaches and was very precise and jerky and went all to pieces if you started after him. But it was pleasant in the gym. There was good air and light, and I worked quite hard. Skipping rope, shadow boxing, doing abdominal stretches, abdominal exercises lying on the floor in a patch of sunlight that came through the open window, and occasionally scaring the professor when we boxed. I could not shadow box in front of that narrow, long mirror at first, because it looked so strange to see a man with a beard boxing. But finally, I just thought it was funny. I wanted to take off the beard as soon as I started boxing, but Catherine did not want me to. Beard evident. Different times. Sometimes, Catherine and I went for rides out in the country in a carriage. It was nice to ride when the days were pleasant, and we found 2 good places where we could ride out to eat. Catherine could not walk very far now, and I loved to ride out along the country roads with her. When there was a good day, we had a splendid time, but we never had a bad time. We knew the baby was very close now, and it gave us both a feeling as though something were hurrying us. We could not lose any time together. Yeah, you pay extra for no ice, because then that's a neat pour, not a rocks or whatever. And those cost extra because it's a larger pour. I got you. I think this might be the last chapter, isn't it? It is. Okay. But it's a doozy of a chapter, I think. Alright. Chapter 41. Yeah. Very fair, very fair. One morning, I awoke about 3 o'clock, hearing Catherine stirring in the bed. Are you all right, Cat? I've been having some pains, darling. Regularly? No, not very. If you have them at all regularly, we'll go to the hospital. I was very sleepy and went back to sleep. A little while later, I woke again. Maybe you'd better call up the doctor, Catherine said. I think maybe this is it. I went to the phone and called the doctor. How often are the pains coming? He asked. How often are they coming, Cat? I should think every quarter of an hour. You should go to the hospital then, the doctor said. I will dress and go there right away myself. I hung up and called the garage near the station to send up a taxi. No one answered the phone for a long time. Then I finally got a man who promised to send up the taxi at once. Catherine was dressing. Her bag was all packed with the things she would need at the hospital and the baby things. Outside in the hall, I rang for the elevator. There was no answer. I went downstairs. There was no one downstairs except the night watchman. I brought the elevator up myself, put Catherine's bag in it. She stepped in and we went down. The night watchman opened the door for us and we sat outside on the stone slabs beside the stairs down to the driveway and waited for the taxi. The night was clear and the stars were out. Catherine was very excited. I'm so glad it started, she said. Now, in a little while, it will be all over. You're a good, brave girl. I'm not afraid. I wish the taxi would come, though. We heard it coming up the street and saw its headlights. It turned into the driveway, and I helped Catherine in, and the driver put the bag up in front. Drive to the hospital, he said. We went out of the driveway and started up the hill. At the hospital, we went in, and I carried the bag. there was a woman at the desk who wrote down Catherine's name, address, relatives, and religion in a book. She said she had no religion, and the woman drew a line in the space after the word. She gave her name as Catherine Henry. Hold the phone. Hold up. With that bombshell of a drop of a Henry at the very end of the book, I knew there was something sus about this couple. Anyway, with that, let's go ahead and take a short ad break here, because we've got about a minute until it kicks in, and I want that to sink in. As they're going into labor, they drop that they're Henrys, or at least she is, and that's their pseudonym. Don't know yet, but I knew there was something off about this couple. For those of you not following along, we don't like Henrys around here. Every Henry we've come across in literature has been awful. Well, really, the two of them. Henry David Thoreau, absolute king of Henrys. Do not like him. Henry from Red Badge of Courage, also a monumental asshole. So we're 0 for 2. So don't be too shocked whenever we lash out at Henry's. It's deserved. It is deserved. All right, ads are kicking in, so we'll take a short break, and when we get back, we will try and see our way to the end of the book. Thanks, guys. All right, we are back. I did look ahead. We've got about 14 or 15 pages left on this one. Most certainly not worth having another session for this, so we'll just run over. It's going to be one of those nights. So, let's continue, because we are nearly to the end of this, and I'm excited to see how this is going to end. Especially after the drop that these are Henry's. I will take you up to your room, she said. We went up in an... Yeah, exactly, making up for Sunday. We went up in an elevator. And the woman stopped it, and we stepped out and followed her down a hall. Catherine held tight to my arm. This is the room, the woman said. Will you please undress and get into bed? Here is a nightgown for you to wear. I have a nightgown, Catherine said. It is better for you to wear this nightgown, the woman said. I went outside and sat on a chair in the hallway. You can come in now, the woman said from the doorway. Catherine was lying in the narrow bed wearing a plain, square-cut nightgown that looked as though it were made of rough sheeting. She smiled at me. I'm having fine pains now, she said. The woman was holding her wrist and timing the pains with a watch. It was a big one, Catherine said. I saw it on her face. Where's the doctor? I asked the woman. He's lying down sleeping. He will be here when he is needed. I must do something for Madame now, the nurse said. Would you please step out again? I went out into the hall. It was a bare hall with 2 windows and closed doors all down the corridor. It smelled of hospital. I sat on the chair and looked at the floor and prayed for Catherine. You can come in, the nurse said. I went in. Hello, darling, Catherine said. How is it? They're coming quite often now. Her face drew up, and then she smiled. That was a real one. Do you want to put your hand on my back again, nurse? If it helps you, the nurse said. You go away, darling, Catherine said. Go out and get something to eat. I may do this for a long time, the nurse says. The first labor is usually protracted, the nurse said. Please, go out and get something to eat, Catherine said. I'm fine, really. I'll stay a while, I said. The pains came quite regularly, then slackened off. Catherine was very excited. When the pains were bad, she called them good ones. When they started to fall off, she was disappointed and ashamed. You go out, darling, and she said. I think you are just making me self-conscious. Her face tied up. There, that was better. I so want to be a good wife and have this child without any foolishness. Please go and get some breakfast, darling, and then come back. I won't miss you. Nurse is splendid to me. You have plenty of time for breakfast, the nurse said. I'll go then. Goodbye, sweet. Goodbye, Catherine said, and have a fine breakfast for me, too. Where can I get breakfast? I asked the nurse. There's a cafe down the street at the square, she said. It should be open now. Outside, it was getting light. I walked down the empty street to the cafe. There was a light in the window. I went in and stood at the zinc bar, and an old man served me a glass of white wine and a brioche. The brioche was yesterday's. I dipped it in the wine and then drank a glass of coffee. What do you do at this hour? The old man asked. My wife is in labor at the hospital. So, I wish you good luck. Give me another glass of wine. He poured it from the bottle, slopping it over a little so some ran down on the zinc. I drank this glass, paid, and went out. Outside along the street were the refuse cans from the houses waiting for the collector. A dog was nosing at one of the cans. What do you want? I asked and looked at the can to see if there's anything I could pull out for him. There's nothing on top but coffee grounds, dust, and some dead flowers. There isn't anything, dog, I said. The dog crossed the street. I went up the stairs in the hospital to the floor Catherine was on, and down to the hall to her room. I knocked on the door. There was no answer. I opened the door. The room was empty, except for Catherine's bag on a chair and her dressing gown hanging on a hook on the wall. I went out and down the hall looking for somebody. I found a nurse. Where is Madame Henry? A lady has just gone to the delivery room. Where is it? I will show you. She took me down to the end of the hall. The door of the room was partly open. I could see Catherine lying on a table, covered by a sheet. The nurse was on one side, and the doctor stood on the other side of the table beside some cylinders. The doctor held a rubber mask attached to a tube in one hand. I will give you a gown, and you can go in, the nurse said. Come in here, please. She put a white gown on me and pinned it at the neck and in back with a safety pin. Now you can go in, she said. I went into the room. Hello, darling, Catherine said in a strained voice. I'm not doing much. You are Mr. Henry? The doctor asked. All but confirmed that they're Henrys. Yes, how is everything, doctor? Things are going very well, the doctor said. We came in here where it is easy to give gas for the pains. I want it now, Catherine said. The doctor placed the rubber mask over her face and turned a dial, and I watched Catherine breathing deeply and rapidly. Then she pushed the mask away. The doctor shut off the petcock. That wasn't a very big one. I had a very big one a while ago. The doctor made me go clear out, didn't you, doctor? Her voice was strange. It rose on the word doctor. The doctor smiled. I want it again, Catherine said. She held the rubber tight to her face and breathed fast. I heard her moaning a little. Then she pulled the mask away and smiled. That was a big one, she said. It was a very big one. Don't you worry, darling. You go away. Go have another breakfast. I'll stay, I said. A reminder that this is before epidurals, so they're just giving her ether, basically. We had gone to the hospital about 3 o'clock in the morning. At noon, Catherine was still in the delivery room. The pains had slackened again. She looked very tired and worn out, but she was still cheerful. I'm not any good, darling, she said. I'm so sorry. I thought I would do it very easily. Now, there's one. She reached out her hand for the mask and held it over her face. The doctor moved the dial and watched her. In a little while, it was over. It wasn't much, Catherine said. She smiled. I'm a fool about the gas. It's wonderful. We'll get some for the home, I said. There one comes, Catherine said quickly. Fair. The doctor quickly turned the dial and looked at his watch. What is the interval now? I asked. About a minute. Don't you want lunch? I will have something pretty soon, he said. You must have something to eat, Doctor, Catherine said. I'm so sorry I go on so long. Couldn't my husband give me the gas? If you wish, the doctor said, you turn it to the numeral 2. I'm sorry. Okay. I see, I said. There was a marker on a dial that turned with a handle. I want it now, Catherine said. She held the mask tight to her face. I turned the dial to number 2, and when Catherine put down the mask, I turned it off. It was very good of the doctor to let me do something. Did you do it, darling? Catherine asked. She stroked my wrist. Sure. You're so lovely. She was a little drunk from the gas. I will eat from a tray in the next room, the doctor said. You can call me any moment. While the time passed, I watched him eat. Then, after a while, I saw that he was lying down and smoking a cigarette. Catherine was getting very tired. Do you think I'll ever have this baby? She asked. Yes, of course you will. I try as hard as I can. I push it down, but it goes away. There it comes. Give it to me. At 2 o'clock, I went out and had lunch. There were a few men in the cafe sitting with coffee and glasses of Kirsch or Mark on the tables. I sat down at a table. Can I eat? asked the waiter. It is past time for lunch. Isn't there anything for all hours? You can have choucroute. Give me a choucroute and a beer. A demi or a bock? A light demi. The waiter brought a dish of sauerkraut with a slice of ham over the top and a sausage buried in the hot wine-soaked cabbage. I ate it and drank the beer. I was very hungry. I watched the people at the tables in the cafe. At one table they were playing cards. 2 men at the table next to me were talking and smoking. The cafe was full of smoke. The zinc bar where I had breakfasted had 3 people behind it now. The old man, a plump woman in a black dress who sat behind a counter and kept track of everything served to the tables, and a boy in an apron. I wondered how many children the woman had had, and what it had been like. That does sound like a very good lunch, honestly. Some kraut, some ham, some sausage, I mean, that's about all you could want, really. Can't go wrong with kraut. How people can say they don't like sauerkraut is just okay, Weird Al, that's enough out of you. Sauerkraut is fine. Thank you very much. Especially with some good mustard. When I was through with the choucroute, I went back to the hospital. The street was all clean now. There were no refuse cans out. The day was cloudy, but the sun was trying to come through. I rode upstairs in the elevator. I stepped out and went down the hall to Catherine's room, where I had left my white gown. I put it on and pinned it in back at the neck. I looked at the glass and saw myself looking like a fake doctor with a beard. I went down the hall to the delivery room. The door was closed and I knocked. No one answered. So I turned the handle and went in. The doctor sat by Catherine. The nurse was doing something at the other end of the room. "Here is your husband," the doctor said. "Oh, darling, I have the most wonderful doctor," Catherine said in a very strange voice. "He has been telling me the most wonderful story, and when the pain came too badly, he put me all the way out. He's wonderful. You're wonderful, doctor." "You're drunk," I said. "I know it," Catherine said, "but you shouldn't say it." "Then give it to me! Give it to me!" She clutched hold of the mask and breathed short and deep, pantingly, making the respirator click. Then she gave a long sigh, and the doctor reached with his left hand and lifted away the mask. "It's a very big one," Catherine said. Her voice was very strange. "I'm not going to die now, darling. I'm past where I was going to die. Aren't you glad?" "Don't you get in that place again." "I won't. I'm not afraid of it, though. I won't die, darling." "You will not do any such foolishness," the doctor said. "You will not die and leave your husband." "Oh, no, I won't die. I wouldn't die. It's silly to die. There it comes. Give it to me." After a while, the doctor said, "You will go out, Mr. Henry, for a few moments, and I will make an examination." "He wants to see how I'm doing," Catherine said. "You can come back afterward, darling. Can't you, doctor?" "Yes," said the doctor. "I will send word when he can come back." I went out the door and down the hall to the room where Catherine was to be after the baby came. I sat in a chair there and looked at the room. I had the paper in my coat that I'd bought when I went out for lunch, and I read it. It was beginning to be dark outside, and I turned the light on to read. After a while, I stopped reading and turned off the light, and watched it get dark outside. I wondered why the doctor did not send for me. Maybe it was better I was away. He probably wanted me away for a while. I looked at my watch. If he did not send for me in 10 minutes, I would go down anyway. Poor dear cat. And this was the price you paid for sleeping together. This was the end of the trap. This was what people got for loving each other. Thank God for gas. Anyway, what must it have been like before there were anesthetics? Once it started, they were in the mill race. Catherine had a good time in the time of pregnancy. It wasn't bad. She was hardly ever sick. She was not often uncomfortable until toward the last. So now they got her in the end. You never got away with anything. Get away, hell! It would have been the same if we had been married 50 times. What if she should die? She won't die. People don't die in childbirth nowadays. That's what all husbands thought, yes. But what if she should die? She won't die. She's having a bad time. The initial labor is usually protracted. She's only having a bad time. Afterward, we'd say, what a bad time. And Catherine would say, it wasn't really so bad, but what if she should die? She can't die. Yes, but what if she should die? She can't, I tell you. But don't be a fool. It was just a bad time. It's just nature giving her hell. It's only the first labor, which is almost always protracted. Yes, but what if she should die? She can't die. Why would she die? What reason is there for her to die? There's just a child that has to be born, and the byproduct of good nights in Milan. It makes trouble and is born, and then you look after it and get fond of it, but maybe. But what if she should die? She won't die, but what if she should die? She won't. She's all right, but what if she die? She can't die. What if she should die? Oh, hey, what about that? What if she should die? The doctor came into the room. How does it go, doctor? It doesn't go, he said. What do you mean? Just that. I made an examination. He detailed the result of the examination. Since then, I've waited to see, but it doesn't go. What do you advise? There are two things. Either a high forceps delivery, which can tear and be quite dangerous, besides being possibly bad for the child, and a cesarean. What is the danger of a cesarean? What if she should die? It should be no greater than the danger of an ordinary delivery. Would you do it yourself? Yes, I would need possibly an hour to get things ready and to get the people I would need, perhaps a little less. What do you think? I would advise a cesarean operation. If it were my wife, I would do a cesarean. So, the idea that they would even consider a high forceps is crazy to me. Like, to say that there is it being possibly bad for the child is a wild understatement. What are the after effects? There are none. There is only the scar. But what about infection? The danger is not so great as in high forceps delivery. What if you just went on and did nothing? You would have to do something eventually. Mrs. Henry is already losing much of her strength. The sooner we operate now, the safer. Operate as soon as you can, I said. I will go and give the instructions. I went into the delivery room. The nurse was with Catherine, who lay on the table. Big under the sheet, looking very pale and tired. Did you tell him he could do it? She asked. Yes. Isn't that grand? Now it will all be over in an hour. I'm almost done, darling. I'm going all to pieces. Please give me that. It doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. Breathe deeply. I am. Oh, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. Get another cylinder, I said to the nurse. That is a new cylinder. I'm just a fool, darling, I said, but it doesn't work anymore. She began to cry. Oh, I wanted so to have this baby and not make trouble, and I'm all done and all gone to pieces. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I don't care if it does. It will always stop. Please make it stop. Oh, there it comes. Oh. She breathed sobbingly in the mask. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Don't mind me, darling. Please don't cry. Don't mind me. I'm so good to pieces. You're so sweet. I love you so, and I'll be good again. I'll be good this time. Can't they give me something? They'd only give me something. I'll make it work. I'll turn it all the way. Give it to me now. I turned the dial all the way, and as she breathed hard and deep, her hand relaxed on the mask. I shut off the gas and lifted the mask. She came back from a long way away. It was lovely, darling. Oh, you're so good to me. You be brave, because I can't do that all the time. It might kill you. I'm not brave anymore, darling. I'm all broken. They've broken me. I know it now. Everybody's that way, but it's awful. They just keep it up till they break you. In an hour, it will be over. Isn't that lovely, darling? Darling, I won't die, will I? No, I promise you won't. Because I don't want to die and leave you. But I get so tired of it, and I feel I'm going to die. Nonsense! Everybody feels that. Sometimes I know I'm going to die. You won't. You can't. But what if I should? I won't let you. Be quick, give it to me. Then afterward, I won't die. I won't let myself die. Of course you won't. Stay with me. Not to watch it. Brother? Excuse me? I know you're not allowed to be in there, but still, tell her. No, just to be there. Sure, I'll be there all the time. So good to me. There, give it to me. Give me some more. It's not working! I turned the dial to 3, then 4. I wish the doctor would come back. I was afraid of the numbers above 2. Finally, a new doctor came in with 2 nurses, and they lifted Catherine onto a wheeled stretcher, and we started down the hall. The stretcher went rapidly down the hall and into the elevator, where everyone had to crowd against the wall to make room. Then up, an open door, and out of the elevator, and down the hall on rubber wheels to the operating room. I did not recognize the doctor with his cap and mask on. There was another doctor and more nurses. You've got to give me something, Catherine said. You've got to give me something. Oh, please, doctor, please give me something enough to do some good. One of the doctors put a mask over her face, and I looked through the door and saw the bright, small amphitheater of the operating room. You can go in the other door and sit up there, a nurse said to me. There were benches behind a rail that looked down on the white table and the lights. I looked at Catherine. The mask was over her face. She was quiet now. They wheeled the stretcher forward. I turned away and walked down the hall. 2 nurses were hurrying toward the entrance to the gallery. It's a cesarean, one said. They're going to do a cesarean. The other one laughed. We're just in time. Aren't we lucky? They went in the door that led to the gallery. Oh my. Yes, just general entertainment. I know there's no TV, but come on. You go right in there. Go right in, she said. I'm staying outside. She hurried in. I walked up and down the hall. I was afraid to go in. I looked out the window. It was dark, but in the light from the window I could see it was raining. I went into a room at the far end of the hall and looked at the labels on bottles in a glass case. Then I came out and stood in the empty hall and watched the door of the operating room. A doctor came out, followed by a nurse. He held something in his 2 hands that looked like a freshly skinned rabbit, and hurried across the corridor with it, and in through another door. I went down to the door he had gone into and found him in the room doing things to a newborn child. The doctor held him up for me to see. He held him by the heels and slapped him. Is he all right? He's magnificent. He'll weigh 5 kilos. I had no feeling for him. He did not seem to have anything to do with me. I felt no feeling of fatherhood. Aren't you proud of your son? The nurse asked. They were washing him and wrapping him in something. I saw the little dark face and dark hand, but I did not see him move or hear him cry. The doctor was doing something to him again. He looked upset. No, I said, he's nearly killed his mother. It isn't the little darling's fault. Didn't you want a boy? No, I said. The doctor was busy with him. He held him up by the feet and slapped him. I did not wait to see it. I went out into the hall. I could go in now and see. I went in the door and a little way down the gallery. The nurses who were sitting on the rail motioned for me to come down where they were. I shook my head. I could see enough where I was. I thought Catherine was dead. She looked dead. Her face was gray, the part of it that I could see. Down, below, under the light, the doctor was sewing up the great, long, forceps-spread, thick-edged wound. Another doctor in a mask gave the anesthetic. 2 nurses in masks handed things. It looked like a drawing of the Inquisition. I knew as I watched I could have watched it all, but I was glad I hadn't. I do not think I could have watched them cut, but I watched the wound close into a high welted ridge that was with quick, skillful-looking stitches, like a cobbler's, and was glad. When the wound was closed, I went out into the hall and walked up and down again. After a while, the doctor came out. "How is she?" "She is all right. Did you watch?" He looked tired. "I saw you sew up. The incision looked very long." "You thought so?" "Yes." "Will that scar flatten out?" "Oh, yes." After a while, they brought out the wheeled stretcher and took it very rapidly down the hallway to the elevator. I went along beside it. Catherine was moaning. Downstairs, they put her in the bed in her room. I sat in a chair at the foot of the bed. There was a nurse in the room. I got up and stood by the bed. It was dark in the room. Catherine put out her hand. "Hello, darling," she said. Her voice was very weak and tired. "Hello, you sweet." "What sort of baby was it?" "Shh, don't talk," the nurse said. "A boy. He's long and wide and dark." "Is he all right?" "Yes," I said. "He's fine." I saw the nurse look at me strangely. "I'm awfully tired," Catherine said, "and I hurt like hell. Are you all right, darling?" "I'm fine. Don't talk." "You were lovely to me, darling." Oh, darling, I hurt dreadfully. What does he look like?" "He looks like a skinned rabbit with a puckered-up old man's face." "You must go out," the nurse said. "Madame Henry must not talk." "I'll be outside." I said, "Go and get something to eat." "No, I'll be outside." I kissed Catherine. She was very gray and weak and tired. "May I speak to you?" I said to the nurse. She came out in the hall with me. I walked a little way down the hall. "What's the matter with the baby?" I asked. "Didn't you know?" "No." "He wasn't alive." "He was dead?" "They couldn't start him breathing. The cord was caught around his neck or something." "So he's dead?" "Yes. It's such a shame. He was such a fine, big boy. I thought you knew." "No," I said. "You better go back in with Madame." I sat down on the chair in front of a table, where there were nurses' reports hung on clips at the side, and looked out the window. I could see nothing but the dark and the rain falling across the light from the window. So that was it. The baby was dead. That was why the doctor looked so tired. Why had they acted the way they did in the room with him? They supposed he would come around and start breathing, probably. I had no religion, but I knew he ought to have been baptized. What if he never breathed at all? He hadn't. He'd never been alive, except in Catherine. I'd felt him kick there often enough, but I hadn't for a week. Maybe he was choked all the time. Poor little kid. Wish the hell I'd been choked like that. No, I didn't. Still, there would not be all this dying to go through. Now, Catherine would die. That's what you did. You died. You did not know what it was about. You never had time to learn. They threw you in, told you the rules, and the first time they caught you off base, they killed you. And they killed you gratuitous like Amo. And gave you the syphilis like Ronaldo. They killed you in the end. Count on that. Stay around, they would kill you. Once, in camp, I put a log on top of the fire, and it was full of ants. As it commenced to burn, the ants swarmed out, and went first toward the center, where the fire was, then turned back and ran toward the end. When there were enough on the end, they fell into the fire. Some got out, their bodies burnt and flattened, and went off, not knowing where they were going. Most of them went toward the fire, and then back toward the end, and swarmed on the cool end, and finally fell off into the fire. I remember thinking at the time that it was the end of the world. A splendid chance to be a messiah and lift the log off the fire and throw it out where the ants would get off onto the ground. But I did not do anything but throw a tin cup of water on the log so that I would have the cup empty to put whiskey in before I added water to it. And the cup of water on the burning log only steamed the ants. So now I sat out in the hall and waited to hear how Catherine was. The nurse did not come out, so after a while I went to the door and opened it very softly and looked in. I could not see at first because there was a bright light in the hall and it was dark in the room. Then I saw the nurse sitting by the bed and Catherine's head on a pillow. She all flat under the sheet. The nurse put her finger to her lips, then stood up and came to the door. "How is she?" I asked. "She's all right," the nurse said. "You should go and have your supper and then come back if you wish." I went down the hall and then down the stairs and out the door and to the hospital and down the dark street in the rain to the cafe. It was brightly lighted inside and there were many people at the tables. I did not see a place to sit, and a waiter came up to me and took my wet coat and hat and showed me to a place at a table across from an elderly man who was drinking beer and reading the evening paper. I sat down and asked the waiter what the plate du jour was. "A veal stew, but it is finished." "What can I have to eat?" "Ham and eggs, eggs with cheese, or choucroute." "I ate choucroute this noon," I said. "That's true," he said. "That's true. You ate choucroute this noon." He was a middle-aged man with a bald top to his head, his hair slicked over it. He had a kind face. What do you want? Ham and eggs, or eggs with cheese?" Ham and eggs," I said. "And beer." "A demi-blonde?" "Yes," I said. "I remembered," he said. "You took a demi-blonde this noon." I ate the ham and eggs and drank the beer. The ham and eggs were in a round dish, the ham underneath and the eggs on top. It was very hot, and at the first mouthful I had to take a drink of beer to cool my mouth. I was hungry, and I asked the waiter for another order. I drank several glasses of beer. I was not thinking at all, but read the paper of the man opposite me. It was about the breakthrough on the British front. When he realized I was reading the back of his paper, he folded it over. I thought of asking the waiter for a paper, but I could not concentrate. It was hot in the cafe, and the air was bad. Many of the people at the tables knew one another. There were several card games going on. The waiters were busy bringing drinks from the bar to the tables. Two men came in and could find no place to sit. They stood opposite the table where I was. I ordered another beer. I was not ready to leave yet. It was too soon to go back to the hospital. I tried not to think, and to be perfectly calm. The men stood around, but no one was leaving, so they went out. I drank another beer. There was quite a pile of saucers now on the table in front of me. The man opposite me had taken off his spectacles, put them away in a case, folded his paper, and put it in his pocket. And now sat holding his liqueur glass and looking out at the room. Suddenly, I knew I had to get back. I called the waiter, paid the reckoning, got into my coat, put on my hat, and started out the door. I walked through the rain up to the hospital. Upstairs, I met the nurse coming down the hall. "I just called you at the hotel," she said. Something dropped inside me. "What is wrong?" "Mrs. Henry has had a hemorrhage." "Can I go in?" No, not yet. The doctor is with her. Is it dangerous? It is very dangerous. The nurse went into the room and shut the door. I sat outside in the hall. Everything was gone inside me. I did not think. I could not think. I knew she was going to die, and I prayed that she would not. Don't let her die. Oh, God, please. Don't let her die. I'll do anything for you. I won't let her die. Please, 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 dear God. Don't let her die, dear God. Don't let her die. Please, 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 don't let her die. God, please, make her not die. I'll do anything you say if you don't let her die. You took the baby, but don't let her die. It was all right, but don't let her die. Please, please, dear God, don't let her die. The nurse opened the door and motioned with her finger for me to come. I followed her into the room. Catherine did not look up when I came in. I went over to the side of the bed. The doctor was standing by the bed on the opposite side. Catherine looked at me and smiled. I bent down over the bed and started to cry. "Oh, darling," Catherine said very softly. She looked gray. "You're all right, Cat. You're going to be all right." "I'm going to die," she said. And then waited and said, "I hate it." I took her hand. "Don't touch me," she said. I let go of her hand. She smiled. "Oh, darling, you touch me all you want. You'll be all right, Cat. I know you'll be all right. I meant to write you a letter to have, if anything happened, but I didn't do it. Do you want me to get a priest or anyone to come and see you?" "Just you," she said. Then, a little later, "I'm not afraid. I hate it." "You must not talk so much," the doctor said. "All right," Catherine said. "Do you want me to do anything, Cat? Can I get you anything?" Catherine smiled. "No." Then, a little later, "You won't do our things with another girl, or say the same things, will you?" "Never. I want you to have girls, though. I don't want them." "You're talking too much," the doctor said. "Mr. Henry must go out. He can come back again later. You are not going to die. You must not be silly." "All right," Catherine said. I'll come and stay with you nights," she said. It was very hard for her to talk. "Please go out of the room," the doctor said. "You cannot talk." Catherine winked at me, her face gray. "I'll be right outside," I said. "Don't worry, darling," Catherine said. "I'm not a bit afraid. It's just a dirty trick." "You brave, dear brave sweet." I waited outside in the hall. I waited a long time. The nurse came to the door and came over to me. "I'm afraid Mrs. Henry is very ill," she said. "I'm afraid for her." "Is she dead?" "No, but she is unconscious." "It seems." She had one hemorrhage after another. They couldn't stop it. I went into the room and stayed with Catherine until she died. She was unconscious all the time, and it did not take her very long to die. Outside the room, in the hall, I spoke to the doctor. "Is there anything I can do tonight?" "No, there is nothing to do. Can I take you to your hotel?" "No, thank you. I'm going to stay here a while. I know there is nothing to say. I cannot tell you. No, I said, there is nothing to say. Good night, he said. I cannot take you to your hotel. No, thank you. It was the only thing to do, he said. The operation proved I do not want to talk about it, I said. I would like to take you to your hotel. No, thank you. He went down the hall. I went to the door of the room. You can't come in now, one of the nurses said. Yes, I can. I said, you can't come in yet. You get out, I said. The other one too. But after I had got them out and shut the door and turned off the light, it wasn't any good. It was like saying goodbye to a statue. After a while, I went out and left the hospital and walked back to the hotel in the rain. The end. Well, fuck me sideways. God damn it. If I knew it was going to end like this, I maybe wouldn't have pushed on for another 45 minutes. I'll forgive them for being Henrys. Damn, they didn't deserve that shit. I can't say that I'm shocked. You're right. Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked. But, like, childbirth has always been dangerous. It's World War I era time as well. Medicine isn't all that much. But, yeah, and yeah, Hemingway wasn't known for being happy. That's true. But god damn. Oof. And you kind of get into it as you're reading it out, especially when things start getting heated like that. Oh. That's... What is it? When we were reading Hyperion on Saturday, we were reading Soul's Story last time, and that one was gutting. And now the ending to this? Jesus Christ. Oh. And yeah, I do try and get into it. Like I'm channeling my old theater kid, tucked way down deep. And you know what? You get into it, damn. Woo. Yeah. Ooh, boy, oh boy. Well, all right. This has been A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. And wow. That one had all sorts of things. Like, there were a few hard turns. Altogether, it was a good book. Which, I mean, honestly, all of Hemingway's works are fantastic. We started with years ago, or not years ago, a year and a half ago, year and change. We started with The Sun Also Rises, which was also fantastic. So I knew we were going to have a good book when we got into this. And all of our sessions were good in different ways. Like, there were ups and downs. We saw the journey things went through. There were, like, the lighthearted, almost MASH moments. And there was the return to the front after things had gone. And, like, yeah, I expected to find, like, I expected it to be a sad ending. I expected that. But man, oh man. Like a freaking country music song. Like, I think there have been country music songs that were like that, I'm sure. Probably on the radio is... Oh, man. All right. I'm a little bit too kerfuffled through all that, and we have run late. So, let's suffice to say that this was a good book, because, as all art is intended to do, it's supposed to make you feel things. And you know what? Mission accomplished. There were many feelings throughout the course of this book. We were angry at the both of them, and now sad for them. And yes, now it is Tuesday and I need a drink. But it's Tuesday. What a day for coffee instead of something hard. Well, you know what? This is probably the best time for Malort. If I'm going to say, if there is ever a time for Malort, it's when you're feeling particularly maudlin and thinking, you know what? Let's kill the feelings that I'm feeling now and have them just replaced with self-hatred. That is the best use for Malort. Oh, man. All right. We've gone way over tonight. Way over. But we finished our book. With all the drama that involved. So, let's go ahead and wrap up here for the night. Let's see if there's anyone that is reading tonight, or any of our friends that are about that we can raid into. Yes, so this Friday, we'll be going back to The Devil's Dictionary. Because, A, I don't want to pick another book right now, and B, some satirical satire, just sometimes goofy stuff, is exactly what the doctor ordered. So, that is what we'll be doing on Friday. All right, let's see. We are following. There's somebody that's reading. Let's see. Not just the Great Emancipator, also the Greatest Vampire. Oh, are they reading A Blinking Vampire Hunter? Oh man, that actually could be good. Yeah, something that's I could go for something happy. Happy's good. Happy would be fantastic. If nothing else, we can go back. We've got like another Alice in Wonderland we can read or something. Something to keep us busy on Sunday when we go back to real books. So, if anybody has anything they'd like to read, and we do have a metric ton of Oz, that is also true. So if anyone has any suggestions, requests, a classic that they've been meaning to get to, a favorite that they want to share with the class, please let me know. I'll read anything. I read this. Ha-ha! Joke's on me. Not like, I like this, but damn. Oh. All right. As always, thank you very much for joining us. If you aren't, know that we're on YouTube as well, and all of our VODs, for now into perpetuity, are up on the YouTube channel. If you are watching or have been around on the YouTube side, a subscription to the channel and a like on our streams helps the algorithm know that we're up to some good things and sends maybe some new friends our way. If you're on Twitch, we are a recent affiliate, recent channel, and really just finding our feet. If you enjoyed what you've seen tonight, the heart-rending choice of literature, a follow would be fully appreciated. And yeah, stop in, say hi for once in a while. I'd appreciate that too. All right, so let's see if there are any friends out there that are, I prefer reading if we can. It's always nice to support our fellow readers. See, this guy's been going for like 3 hours, so he can't be going that much longer. that might be a quick bounce and run. But honestly, let's do it anyway. It looks fun. Let's see if he allows us in. Oh, no, hang on. It have been going for 3 hours. That's a long time. Nah, we're going. All right. All right, we are going to raid into Neff the Lorekeeper. They are reading what appears to be Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter? Maybe? All right, give him our best. Say hi, and until next time, have a wonderful night, and thank you very much for joining us.